He was handsome, he was charismatic, he was a monster. Ted Bundy, with his charming smile and captivating gaze, hid a horrifying truth. He was a predator, a serial killer who preyed on young women, leaving a trail of devastation and death across America. Some estimates whisper of numbers far greater. The true extent of his brutality remains shrouded in darkness. His story is a terrifying reminder. Evil often wears the most appealing disguise. Bundy's charm was his weapon. He exuded an air of normalcy, even vulnerability. This allowed him to gain the trust of his victims. They never suspected the darkness that lurked beneath the surface. The charming young man asking for help with his groceries or pretending to be injured was, in reality, a cunning hunter. Young women who resembled a lost love, their innocence a cruel mockery of the life he had taken. Bundy's intelligence only amplified his terrifying nature. He was a law student. He volunteered for a suicide hotline. He even worked on a political campaign. This only solidified his image as a respectable member of society. It also made him a master manipulator, able to blend in, to deceive, and to evade capture time and time again. The world would learn his name, Ted Bundy, a name synonymous with terror, with the darkest impulses of humanity. But behind the charming facade was a void, an abyss of evil that defied explanation. He was a monster who walked among us. And for a brief, terrifying moment in time, he got away with it. Ted Bundy's story begins like a whisper of unease, a subtle tremor in the foundation of a life seemingly normal. Born Theodore Robert Cowell in 1946, his entrance into the world was marked by the stigma of illegitimacy, a secret that would cast a long shadow. Raised by his grandparents in Philadelphia, he grew up believing his mother was his older sister. This fabrication, designed to protect family reputation, instead planted a seed of confusion. It warped his sense of identity and belonging. Some point to this period as the genesis of his inner turmoil. The absence of his true father, the deception surrounding his parentage, these elements, they argue, festered within him. They warped his sense of self, leaving him unmoored and adrift in a world that already felt hostile and cold. Even as a child, there were signs, a disturbing fascination with violence, a tendency toward voyeurism. These unsettling hints, however, were easily dismissed. He was, after all, a bright and engaging child. He excelled in school, displaying a sharp intellect that impressed teachers, yet beneath the surface a darkness stirred, a darkness that would eventually consume him, leaving a trail of unimaginable suffering in its wake. The charming young man, the promising student, was harboring a monstrous secret. A secret that would explode into the world with horrifying consequences. Ted Bundy did not have a particular victim profile. He targeted young women, yes, but it was more than just age or appearance. He sought a specific vulnerability, a trust that he could exploit. He would often feign injury, a broken arm, a leg in a cast. He would appeal to their compassion, their willingness to help. This was his mask. The face of a man in need, a damsel in distress. Once he had their trust, the mask would slip. The charming facade would crumble, revealing the monster beneath. The violence was always brutal, savage. He would bludgeon, he would strangle, he would inflict unimaginable pain, often while the victim was still alive. And then a new layer of horror. Bundy engaged in acts of necrophilia. He would return to the sites where he had dumped the bodies, sometimes even taking them back to his apartment. He would dress them, pose them, engaging in a macabre dance with death. It was a chilling testament to his complete and utter depravity. In a further display of his chilling detachment, Bundy kept trophies, souvenirs of his horrific crimes, pieces of jewelry, clothing, and most horrifyingly, severed heads. These macabre mementos were not just evidence of his crimes. They were tokens of his power, grim reminders of his ability to control and dominate his victims, even in death. Bundy's reign of terror wasn't confined to a single location. He was a phantom, drifting across state lines, leaving a trail of bodies in his wake. Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Utah, Florida. He moved with chilling ease, blending into the background, always a step ahead of the law. His ability to evade capture was both baffling and terrifying. He was a chameleon, able to change his appearance, his demeanor, even his name. He used this to his advantage, assuming different identities, weaving a tapestry of lies that kept him one step ahead of the authorities. In 1975, he was arrested in Utah, aggravated kidnapping and attempted criminal assault. It seemed like the net was finally closing in. But Bundy, ever the escape artist, had other plans. He escaped from custody, not once, but twice. His escapes only solidified his notoriety. He became a phantom, a boogeyman whispered about in hushed tones. The authorities were left scrambling, trying to piece together the puzzle of his movements. They were always one step behind, chasing shadows in the night, while Bundy continued his reign of terror, leaving a bloody trail across the heartland of America. January 1978, Tallahassee, Florida. A cold front had settled over the city, casting a pall over the usually vibrant campus of Florida State University. The students were back from winter break, eager to resume their studies. But a storm was brewing, a storm that would leave an indelible mark on the university and the nation. On the night of January 14th, Ted Bundy, fueled by a twisted cocktail of alcohol and madness, slipped into the Chi Omega sorority house. He bludgeoned 4 young women, Margaret Bowman, Lisa Levy, Kathy Kleiner, Karen Chandler. 2 of them, Margaret and Lisa, did not survive the night. Their brutal murders sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. Less than a month later, Bundy claimed another victim. This time it was 12-year-old Kimberly Leach. He abducted her from her junior high school, his monstrous desires unquenched by the carnage he had already unleashed. Kimberly's disappearance sparked a massive manhunt. The authorities, finally realizing the scope of Bundy's depravity, were determined to bring him to justice. The reign of terror was coming to an end, but not before Bundy had etched his name in the annals of criminal history, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most seemingly ordinary life. February 15th, 1978, Pensacola, Florida. Ted Bundy's luck finally ran out. A routine traffic stop, a stolen vehicle. The pieces of the puzzle were finally falling into place. They had their man. Bundy's trials were media sensations. He became an unlikely celebrity, his charm and intelligence on full display. He relished the attention, representing himself in court, cross-examining witnesses, even flirting with the judge. But the evidence was overwhelming. DNA, bite marks, eyewitness accounts. Bundy's web of lies was unraveling. He was found guilty on multiple counts of murder and sentenced to death. Even on death row, Bundy continued to manipulate. He confessed to crimes, offering details in exchange for stays of execution. He played a cat-and-mouse game with authorities, delaying his inevitable fate. January 24th, 1989, Rayford Prison, Florida. After years of appeals and delays, Ted Bundy was executed by electrocution. The man who had captivated and terrified a nation was no more. What drove Ted Bundy? This is the question that has haunted criminologists, psychologists, and the public for decades. How could someone so seemingly normal be capable of such horrific acts? Some experts believe Bundy was a psychopath. He lacked empathy and remorse. He was a master manipulator, able to charm and deceive those around him. Others point to potential brain damage or psychological trauma from his childhood as contributing factors. The truth is, there is no easy answer. Bundy's psyche was a complex tapestry of darkness. His intelligence, his charm, his ability to blend in, these were all tools he used to fuel his monstrous desires. He was a predator who stalked his prey with chilling precision, and the world may never fully understand the depths of his depravity. The impact of Bundy's crimes on the families of his victims is immeasurable. Parents, siblings, friends. Their lives were forever shattered, ripped apart by an act of senseless violence. Many have spoken about the pain, the anger, the overwhelming sense of loss that has followed them for years. They have had to navigate the complexities of grief while also dealing with the public nature of their loved ones' deaths. The families of Bundy's victims have shown incredible strength and resilience. They have become advocates for victims' rights, working to ensure that their loved ones are never forgotten. Their stories are a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, even in the face of unimaginable tragedy. Bundy's execution was a media circus. Reporters and spectators gathered outside the prison, eager to witness the end of a man who had terrified a generation. His death sparked debate about the ethics of capital punishment, a debate that continues to this day. Some argued that Bundy deserved to die for his crimes, that only the death penalty could provide true justice for the families of his victims. Others argued that the state should not stoop to Bundy's level, that the death penalty was cruel and unusual punishment. Bundy's case forced the nation to confront uncomfortable truths about itself. It exposed the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives, and it left behind a legacy of questions that continue to haunt us to this day. Ted Bundy was a monster, but he was also a human being, and his story serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of life, the complexities of the human psyche, and the enduring power of evil.